Hello everyone, welcome to the Ismono Podcast. And honestly, I am extremely excited and honored to finally have Chase Reeves with me here on this podcast. How are you, Chase?
I'm doing well. I'm honored to be here too. We did something together recently, and I was telling you on that. It's like back in the day, it was just looking at. I mean, I really only think you were the one making nerdy ass bag videos like mine. Know, but right? even then, yours were so elevated. You're like this film editor from Hamburg, Germany, and everything looked good. You know,
I felt the same way about you. You know, I always wanted to kind of contact you, and then somehow you grew with your subscriber count, and I was like, oh, he has no time. And then suddenly we're at 100K, and I was, oh no, he will never meet up with me. And it kind of got like to that kind of stage where you start to miss the point of contacting someone, and then you think like, oh, now it's too late.
Here's why I disagree with your. I understand why you did that, but here's why I think you kind of bitched out on that, Bo, because back in the day there were comments back and forth. I saw you have a comment or two on one of my shit early on. And
that's true.
Same with mine on yours. So you just like like nothing really changed.
I failed.
You're
I totally failed. Okay, then let's stop the podcast now. I failed. Goodbye then, everyone.
I don't want to make it sound like that. But it makes me wonder what other parts of your life you go like, oh, I missed my opportunity when dude, you still have the opportunity.
I do know totally what you mean, and I think this podcast will somewhat reflect on that, because many people, okay, let's start over. Maybe we should, I know all of the people know who you are, but maybe can you give a brief introduction to yourself, who you are and where people might know you from?
Yeah, so I'm primarily a YouTuber, or I have been for a while now, a YouTuber reviewing products, basically an infomercial guy. It's not how I've always seen myself. It's just when I look back with a little bit of objectivity, that's what I see. I see like the ShamWow guy going like, hey, look at this. You like this? This is great. Hey, this is great. And I would say that I'm like one of just a deep student of things that we can put in. What I say on my website is everyday goods that are actually good, things that we can put into our life that actually make an impact, whether that's an everyday carry bag for my laptop going to the cafes or being on public transport, or a travel bag. You really see this stuff when you're living out of a bag or a suitcase or something, and you're using it every day, and you're maybe in transit often going through Europe and whatever. You brought your guitar and you're busking in Ireland or whatever. It's like you really, really see the way that everyday goods, you really see the way that things in your life, help you. And I had someone on a comment on YouTube today recently say, or not just recently, said something about like, you're like a hermit who travels. And I didn't put that together before, but it is. There's this almost monastic quality to me, or there has been in the past. There's a kind of like this idea that I want to try to live in a way that if everybody on the planet lived like that the planet would be doing better. But which is like, once I start being a professional reviewer, that all changes. Because now my studio is just full of crap. I know, right? Like you can't see, but in the back, for anybody who's watching, like everything underneath that counter in the back there, everything is bags. Everything is slings, camera bags, travel bags. There's hundreds and hundreds of them, right? So it's like minimalism is something that I believe in when I'm living my life, because I just don't like to have to clean stuff. I just don't want the bother of cleaning things. And when you have like when you're committed to one thing, life gets simpler. It just gets really simple. And because I do so much creative work, I really value that simplicity of my regular life. So anyways, that's some of me.
But that's a really good introduction, because for anyone listening, and also to you, Chase, today's podcast is not, all the questions that I have are not about bags, but I want to get to know you and on our last podcast that we had together with Aaron, I was reading a little bit between the lines, and therefore I have a couple of questions that is more in line of us being. Can I say that we both are over 40 now? Is that okay for you?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. We're both over 40. We have been in this content creator space for a while. Our mindset probably has changed a little bit. So I have more in the line of being a creator and more in the line of life questions for you. And I would like to start the conversation with, how did you start being a content creator? And how did you get into reviewing bags? And not necessarily in terms of, okay, I like that bag and here and there, but rather, was there some passion into it? Did you think, okay, this could be a different career choice? Or how did you start with this?
Yeah. Well, so there's the long story that I'll make super short is that I was a musician. So I had always oriented towards, in my lifetime, that was like the studio in a laptop sort of thing happened.
Oh, cool.
Right? Yeah. So having a computer and being able to mess with digital media was something that I had some experience with. I've always like made my own songs and recorded them myself. And they're all just these like demos from like the 90s and stuff, So there is a website out there, a secret website that some of my friends know about that I archive all my songs at.
What kind of music, by the way?
Like singer-songwriter stuff.
Cool.
It's kind of all over the place. But yeah, I'm a pretty accomplished guitar player, and I learned how to play drums and piano and in just producing music, in like my own self-taught kind of no lessons sort of way.
That's interesting.
But that meant the computer was in my life. Then I got like a pirated version of Photoshop off of, torrents back in the day.
No, it was borrowed. It wasn't torrented. You borrowed it from a friend.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you for seeing me, Bo. Thank you. So from that point, then it was like messing with some graphic design and like making posters for things and just silly things. My dorm room in college needed a shirt, and we had this painting, and I took a picture of it and messed with it in Photoshop and, silly stuff. But that's important because like I always dreamt of making a course called Computer Time. And it was just like, computer time. Welcome to computer time. Like literally starts with like, we're going to teach you how to use your computer. Like, here's how you copy and paste. Like just the basics.
Why did you do that? That would be so funny.
I know. But because computer time is so essential to like, for me, being a digital creative, being a content creator. So what happened was I started learning how to make websites. I love designing websites. I love that I could put something out. And over time, you kind of see people sometimes coming to it. Blogs, and I was designing lots of blogs for myself and for others. And I made one at one point. I had written personally, and some people like would find it and would, I would tweet about it, and there'd be comments and stuff, and people would connect to the writing, and I got a lot out of that. I just got a lot out of that, and eventually I wanted to do something more specific than just write my own thoughts in like the Chase's Thoughts blogs kind of thing. So I had just become a father, and I started this website called Father Apprentice, and it was for new dads who wanted to be great, because it was really hard for me to kind of switch my mindset into being a dad. And I would write a lot there. And I was working in tech, and I wanted a bag. I wanted a new bag, And there was this company. I was just researching. I was in tech, so it was a messenger type bag. I had a Timbuktu messenger bag, which was like this standard uniform of tech workers at the time. And I found this company called Rickshaw, like made out of San Francisco, and on their website I just couldn't tell if I would like the bag or not. I just didn't know what was up, but I took a chance. It was Christmas. I spent the $150 on myself and got that. Because I was writing at Father Apprentice, I was also starting to do some video stuff there. So when that bag came, I just showed it off. I was like, hey, I got this new bag, and I like it because it has these magnets instead of Velcro, and it stands up on its own, and a handful of things like that. Well, when I showed that to the company, they're like, this is great. We'll give you 10% of every sale and give the person 10% off if they use this coupon code. And over the course of the next like 4 years, I ended up selling like $100,000 of their bags. And I did not get paid my 10% of that, right? Over time, I learned like, whatever. We were just kind of fly by the seat of our pants. But that was the first time I like reviewed a product and showed what I thought about it. And because there was no other coverage of that product on YouTube or Google at the time.
You were the only one.
I was the only one. So anybody who searched for that, like found it, and it ended up being like really effective. And then I just let it, then I forgot all about it. Like they sent more bags out and I showed some stuff like little sling bags and stuff that I didn't really like that much.
Oh, so there was a pause in between that video and
long time. And then my buddy Corbett, who I did a business with my friend Corbett. So for about 8 years, I was a creative director at a startup called Fizzle. It was called Fizzle because most creative ideas fizzle out. Most creative projects you like kind of start and then you just kind of get like forget about and move on from. And this was a training community around how do you keep your idea going? How do you make it work? How do you use the tools of the internet as your superpower? So I we had over the course of time there, we had like over 50,000 members go through it, which was wild. But during that time, I met through my business partner, the Jimmy and the other guy behind Minal. Oh. He had known them in like a traveling blogging community, and so I just wanted a free bag. I wanted their bag, and so I was like, "Listen, I've done some shit like this in the past. I'll do another review if you send me the bag." And then after that, like it kind of worked. And then I had these other bags in my house, like the Patagonia Black Hole Duffel and the Filson 24-hour briefcase. And I just made those, which the Filson 24-hour briefcase is still like, every once in a while, I'll like go back and play the first 2 minutes of that one because it's hilarious. I just have a mustache and I come out guns a-blazing. But just talking about how the bag is just like is like the Indiana Jones of messenger bags, making all sorts of jokes. But the point being, this is a super long-winded way of like, it just kind of slowly happened over time. And it wasn't till my former partner, my former spouse, encouraged me to turn on the affiliate stuff. I was just doing it on the side while I was doing the business that I was running, Fizzle. So. And I had been doing that for like 7 years and I was getting kind of burnt out on it. Yeah. And so she was like, well, let's turn on the affiliate stuff and really try to make that work. So, I built a website and handled all the links and anyways. And then
I turned it on way too late for my channel, to be quite honest.
You think so?
Yeah, I turned it on way too late at some point. And it's now on, but obviously it's nowhere near.
I don't think there's a too late, bro. I just think we are interested in your take on things. You one of the things I just became shameless about is like I put my hands together literally in every video and just like, please, if you buy this, use my link. It literally puts food on the table for my kids. This is how we're doing things. I don't have any problem making them know that because my whole job in the video is to uphold that authenticity. And I don't know if people think I fail or if I attain that goal or whatever, but that's my goal is to keep coming back again and again to my take on this.
Is YouTube your main income at the moment? Is that your main job?
Well, actually not right now. Right now, it's about to be again. I've just had a couple clients for a longer period of time. One of them in a capacity being marketing, creative, copywriting, specifically around advertisements. And then one of them being like an embedded filmmaker where he's got a podcast and he has these like semi-famous people come over and do a workout, and I'm just like one camera guy filming everything.
Oh, that's so cool.
Editing of the workout part, because normally in the workout they'll end up getting into a little conversation. That's on the channel's called The Great Unlearn, and there's a couple out now. There's one with a guy named David Sutcliffe. He was an actor in the Gilmore Girls, and now he does like transformational workshops. But I was sitting there recording these guys just going like, this is a great conversation. This is and it just happened really naturally, sort of in the flow of the workout. And so like, I love that kind of documentary style of thing.
It's so interesting now having this conversation with you, because just learning this kind of deepness, or this how many things you do, you wouldn't know that just watching your YouTube channel, and just now learning, okay, you are a guitar player and you started with music. Now also hearing that you also shoot stuff, so you act as a DOP basically, and that's so cool to learn from.
Well, I'm making it up, dude. I'm making it all up as I go. Like the whole music stuff, self-taught, no lesson, the whole filming stuff. Like now I'm the same. I'm the same. I don't have any school degree. I quit. I finished high school, and then I just did 2 internships, and then from there I just learned everything by doing. So I think we're totally the same, basically, in terms how we gathered all of that knowledge, I believe, as far as I can tell. Yeah. Now I'm curious about this, because there's one thought that I have. I want to know your take on it. I think what ended up making me better and better and better at everything was actually the editing of that stuff.
Yeah.
Like my former spouse, she wanted to make a course, and I just taught her how to set up her iPhone, and then taught her how to edit it herself, just a little bit. Like, here's how you're going to do it. Because I believed that she was just going to get better and better and better by editing herself and being forced to sort of see yourself that way. Yes. And I think that all of the editing that I have done has made me a better, shooter, director of photography kind of thing.
Totally
like
agree.
I can kind of, right? It really, and the same thing with all the music production that I've done makes me a better sort of in the moment singer or guitar player or something, right? It's like...
Yeah, totally. It's just like in sports, where you kind of review your game by watching the film of the game. And with editing, it's the same. You're watching yourself. You see like, oh, I don't know, what would be a good example? I say too many likes, for instance. Yeah. And that's, you don't notice this when you're speaking, but once you edit that stuff, you realize, oh, that's what I'm doing. Or when you edit all of your B-roll, you notice, oh, maybe I should have put that light somewhere else, or maybe I should have. So I totally agree with you. Editing is a huge learning factor.
Well, here's something that's different about your videos from mine. This is what I make up. What I think is like, you have a lot more moments in your videos where you're not on camera. I don't film fucking B-roll. It's quicker for me to just show up with an overhead cam and like my A cam, and I'm just gonna ramble and try to get through it. But you're way more
entertaining. That's why you can hold the A-roll much better than I can. So I just need to kind of cover it up with B-roll. And obviously this is my second language, so I kind of need to cover up when I'm stumbling over my words and then put B-roll on it. So my style comes out of a necessity that where I lack the entertainment factor that you have. I mean, you should have a show, basically. I think you should also be like a radio entertainer or whatever. That would be cool.
Thanks, man. I really appreciate that. I really received that from you. And I mean, the whole, English as a second language thing, your videos always had such a coherent, like, you were always saying something. You cannot say the same about me when I'm on camera. Like, sometimes there is a lot of words and I do not know what I'm saying. In fact, I'm not saying a thing. So
but
that's
a talent.
but I've always liked that about your videos, like this.
Yeah,
like,
but same.
I struggle between those two, right? Because I'm deeply insecure as a creative, as a person, as like there's a lot of insecurity there where this is trained from a personality trying to get people to pay attention to me, trying to get, I think, the love and affection and trying to be more because I don't feel like I'm enough by nature, but because mom and dad or whatever, right? But still connecting through the lens to the person on the other side who's just spent $250 on this thing and really trying to be like, what's this going to be like in your life? Over time, I've got like, I do some coaching with content creators now. I do consulting and coaching with content creators and business leaders. And one of the things that a lot of people are wanting to learn is just how to be better on camera. Yeah. So like I've got like a little bit of a process that's forming around teaching people how to do that. And one of the big chunks of it is like, what the fuck are you saying? Like, what is the thing that you're trying to say? It's like, cause there's a part of you that just wants to be seen and looked at. There's another part that's very same part typically is like terrified of being looked at. So you have this immediate biological response to all of that. However, if you can be a little bit of that academic with something in hand to teach something, it's like, all right, well, what's the thing you're teaching? And a lot of the times just figuring out the good version of that is like, it takes a 1 or 2 steps longer. And then you get a little confidence in what you're about to say. Now you can like be way more yourself as you're saying it.
That's a good segue to one of the questions I have in terms of, as I said, we both are getting older. Do you feel that now being a little bit older and more experienced in this content creation stuff, do you feel, how do you feel about content creation and social media in general? The older we get, do you feel we're growing out of the space, or are we solidifying our position in the space because we're getting older and because maybe we have more, let's say, gravitas in what we're saying?
Ultimately, this is a great question, Bo, and one that I think, if I'm honest, I flip-flop on. I sometimes just feel this incredible, like being pushed out by every 15-year-old with an iPhone.
That's why I'm asking you this question, right? It is so weird. And also, my next question, I don't want to like step too far ahead, but that is exactly why I was kind of wondering about, are we trying to kind of adapt and just make these really quick cuts, TikTok style, whatever? Are we staying how we are and just having these longer takes and whatever and have more to say?
I think what matters most is, every content creator is like working in a different sort of audience, a different audience and space. And so some people are teaching financial literacy, right? And there's always some people, like some fucking silly little nerds like you and I are like talking about bags and stuff. But I don't respect what I do for a living. I actually think I might disrespect what I do for a living. It's like the ultimate, but at the same time, the reason why I was so gung-ho on is like, actually, I fucking love these things. I really do. Like, there's something about it. It's like, ooh, Evergoods. Ooh, I got to get my hands on that. Like that. I want to see what it's like to live with that. I just like the way this feels, right? Why? I don't know. My dad was actually a bag maker. Like him himself. He was the president of a company that, like, if you ever bought a backpack or sleeping bag or tent at Walmart or Sam's Club or, it was all made in factories that he was the president of the company. He had a Korean business partner and it was like, anyways. So like I grew up, only a couple times in my life did I get to go into his office and go into the warehouse, and there was just bags everywhere that also had in white chalk sample written on it. And I was just like, what? Like this big outdoorsy bag. And I wanted it all. I just wanted it all, But The point being, I disrespect what we do for a living. But second of all, yes, every 15-year-old with an iPhone is pushing us out. Third of all, we still have stuff to learn because,
yes, of course.
But fourth of all, like we know some shit. We do. Mm-hmm. We have stuff to learn, but we know some shit. Like we now like. I don't know what the value is in being one of the people in the world who has used the most amount of bags, right? I have some friends that are very high-end designers and they haven't made a bag yet. They're making a bag now. And they call this my bag library. And they're like, they want to pay me to come have access to my bag library. And I'm like, you don't have to pay. You've given me like, you're fine. But they're like, this is the best way we've found for just like, all right, handles. Like what are handles? Like how are people doing handles? And so it's like a little bit of a service I should be offering. But there's something valuable in that, in having a sense of a lot of felt experience with something.
Of course.
And I think it's so natural to have an insecurity about I deeply wish I had an expertise that had, a degree behind it or some sort of like, I always kind of wish I was in a little bit of a corporate environment, but still able to be like creative guy, have some security. But I've tried it. I've done it bits and bots, and it just absolutely flattens me. It totally kills me over time. I just get so dead. But I'm living every day in a kind of feast and famine, boom and bust sort of, how are we doing? There's not a ton of security there.
Yeah.
And I don't know if there's another, as I age, I'm a little bit like, does this matter enough? Like I can actually write a treatise. I can write a manifesto about what matters about everyday carry and travel. I could write that thing, but at the same time, like my dad's looking at me just like, what the fuck are you doing?
It's so funny that I feel like we are vibing right now because you segue to my next question so smoothly, because the statement of did you say you disrespect what we're doing, or you do not feel comfortable? Maybe let's say it that way.
Okay.
So on your channel, and from what I somewhat read between the lines when we had the conversation with Aaron, I felt, you kind of want to dabble around with different kind of content, different kind of videos, and maybe just explore other venues. Is that the right word? Yeah, other venues, maybe some content that is a little bit more interesting to you at the moment. Do you feel like your current content, and I think you already answered it, but maybe you can elaborate. Do you feel that your current content feels too much like work? And would you like to try something out that is different to the current content? Or do you feel like, it is my work, it is how I pay my living, I cannot risk to create other content?
Yeah, it's a little bit of a both and, because no matter what I believe, what I used to teach when I was at Fizzles, no matter what, it's going to become a job in the end. Like you're going to have to work it, and you're also going to have to take care of yourself in a way to keep it as fresh as possible.
Sure.
So yes, I like, if I could wave my special little magic wand, I would just have people just so curious about what word's going to fall out of my mouth next. And like, I just love to watch chase videos, but I've been making content for, but long before I started doing the YouTube channel. Right. So it's like, it's been decades, almost 2 decades, probably. I've been probably 15 years of being a writer and creator on the internet, honestly. And not that there's ever been that many people paying attention to my stuff. You talk about like, okay, now I'm at 130,000 subscribers. It's like, that sounds so big, man. It's taken so long to get there. And I watch people that have 9 or 11 million subscribers. So it's never enough, and it is fucking, you're just comparing yourself to others, and you have to like stop comparing and just get back to your thing. So I I really am grateful to be like this, this beacon or this signal in specifically the soft goods, bag, everyday carry and travel sort of worlds, because at least it's something. Right. And it's not only that, I mean, it's not only something, the reason why I first started making these fucking videos was because I just wanted to be on camera and I didn't want to have to write any script. I didn't want to have to write anything. I just wanted to be able to go through something. And that's what these products give me the ability to do. Now I do a little more prep beforehand, but like, anyways, I like having something. I like having something. Yeah. And at the same time, like I'm actively working on a video where a local wellness clinic partnered with me to do ketamine assisted therapy, for me to make a ketamine assisted therapy video. Like I went through their ketamine assisted therapy program and filmed bits and bops of it before and after, not during the actual, like what I'll call a ceremony. And like I gotta make that video. Like I gotta do that. That was just like which is, by the way, ketamine is a very, very big experience that's just available for free depending on what country you live in.
As far as I know, it is considered an illegal drug in Germany and only used for horse tranquilizer.
It's a very powerful horse tranquilizer, but no, it has been used on here. It's one of the most, apparently, like it's one of the most researched compounds that we have in, like, this is including veterinary as well as human medical use. And so it's like for the longest amount of time we've ended up having lots of data on this, and it's tremendous. It's sensational. It's like, you want to talk about zooming out on your life. And it was really helpful to have the therapist there working with me beforehand and afterwards with the integration, and I'm not a stranger to altered states like that. So that's been like a part of my journey of self-discovery as I've been sitting here making bag videos going like, am I doing it right? Like, is there more to life? What? Because my worry to this 15-year-olds with iPhones thing, my just worry is that like, I'm going to wake up. Like, I feel like these days I'm waking up a bit going like, there's not a future in this. I don't know if I can sense the future in this. Right? It's like, I just don't know. I don't want to be negative about it and just be fearful, which the mind can do. But also I do want to be like intelligent about where I'm building my castle, But you know what? The thing is, I think you're golden or good to go in terms of the future, because I recently had watched a podcast from Linus Tech Tips, who is like this huge PC computer YouTube channel, and he said that reviews in the future will kind of fizzle out due to the fact that so many kind of affiliate pushed or driven websites are just pushing out these AI generated reviews that essentially aren't really reviews, but they drive you towards those affiliate links, and therefore the market or the flood of reviews kind of water down reviews in general, and reviews become obsolete. However, I feel that you are golden in terms of people then don't want to watch reviews, but they want to watch the personality, like presenting that, because they see, I Googled the review of bag XY. I get so many AI generated written reviews. Okay, then let's just watch a personality that I enjoy, be entertained, and then on the same time, maybe get a bag or an item or product that I potentially am interested in. So I think you are pretty much safe because you are a personality. Well, I want to believe that. I want to believe that.
I think you can believe that. I mean, as long as you don't do something really stupid where you have an apology video, like first sighing into the camera, guys. I'm sorry.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I'm just like, my mind's like racing with a bunch of ideas I won't say about why that would happen. But the point is, what you're making me think of is, this has been a long journey. It's been a slog. This has been like, I'm amazed that I've been able to keep as much of our life together as I have, right? It's like financially, it hasn't been the best decision I could have been making financially. This is more based around a lifestyle of like I want to have creative work that I do for a living. And that's also like, I don't want to have to, I want to have some freedom within that. And then like learning how to be your own taskmaster through that, and then trying to make smart, there's something that I have to do I have to come to the camera with a certain kind of energy, which I don't always have with me. Right. And then if I have to fabricate that, I can see it clearly. People can sense it very. Is there
a way you keep yourself like motivated and inspired? Do you kind of push yourself?
I think it's that following your own curiosity kind of thing.
Okay.
Right. So I think principally it's that. I mean, there's like diet and sleep and meditation and yoga and whatever, sex and spiritual practices and stuff. But the big thing I think is just, I'm actually interested in this one.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm actually curious about that. Because that's constantly in conflict with, all right, who is willing to pay? Right? Who is willing? Because I can't just rely on the affiliate game anymore, because affiliate tracking is not, it's not always accurate.
Yeah.
Right? You're assuming all the risk. You're going through this whole like multi-$1,000 production process for a brand on the assumption that that's enough people are going to buy this, not just to pay for that production, but also to go above and beyond that, right? Because none of that cost of the production, if I get that paid for the company, that's none of that's going to my fucking mortgage, and my groceries, right? So it's just like, this has been a lot of learning how to do all the business stuff for reals as a creative. And I could have been making this, I know that I could be a great sales guy somewhere, but that also feels like less motivating in some ways. But I'm getting, at 41 now, I'm getting more to the point where it's like, hold on, dude. Wait. If I just showed up and clocked in and clocked out and called people during business time and helped get some shit done for some company like Yeti or Huckberry or companies that I even already like and admire and like, and dig and respect like when I've coached people in the past, like it's such a big thing when you can really respect the company you're working for.
Yeah.
I worked with so many people who wanted to do their own thing. And it was hard for me not to recommend that they should just go get a regular job, but do the work to find a company that they actually respect and like the mission of. Because I watched so many people just slamming their head against stuff in a desperate kind of way to try to become more creative in their life. And it's like, dude, just fucking get a job and start painting on Wednesdays with the wine and painting group down at the local strip mall,
It's so difficult to find the balance between what you want to do and what you need to do, right? It's do you want to be creative, follow your passion, but potentially not be able to pay rent? Or do you want to do, as you said, do the corporate job and then suddenly earn a lot of money, be able to drive that, I don't know, whatever, it's Mercedes or stuff, and pay the mortgage easily. But finding the balance between those two things is so difficult.
Well, do you know about the Ikigai thing? It's like these 4 overlapping circles. I just found an image of it real quick. It's like what you love. Okay, imagine these 4 overlapping circles creating a kind of like a little flower. There's what you love, what you're good at, what the world needs, and what you can be paid for. Right? So what you love, what you're good at, what the world needs, and what you can get paid for. And it's like you're actually navigating, this is some old, it's some Japanese word, I don't know, but that's something that we used to teach a lot back in Fizzle, is just like trying to find that thing. And that's exciting. I've spent countless hours, Bo, in a coffee shop with a notebook, getting way over caffeinated, dreaming about my life, going like, what do I love that I'm good at, that the world needs, and that I can get paid for? Just trying to discover the new identity, right? And I'm a little bit at a stage, I was married for almost 20 years. Now we're separated and we're finalizing our divorce and everything's amicable there. We're still friends and we're still raising our kids, together in different homes. Like she lives down the way, but and that's a big shift, dude. That's like whoa. I had to deal with a lot. I'm still dealing with a lot of like failure, shame.
I didn't know that. Sorry.
All sorts of stuff around there, but it also feels empowering and it feels like something we worked on the marriage for so long. And I feel really good to have my own space. And so it's like, anyways, at 41, like the career piece, the relationship, romantic, the parenthood, fathering thing, the financial stuff, like all of this stuff feels like, I'm like, I've shifted or am shifting quite a lot. And I don't know what that looks like for the channel, but I'll tell you what, the last few videos that I've made have been some of my faves. Like I show up and I like who I am. I like who I am as I'm making it. I like who I am as I'm editing it. And I like the product. I like the company and the brand that I'm working with. I like these consulting clients that I've been working with. I like who I get to learn how to be there. But man, I still just feel like I'm figuring it out. Like I really don't. I really like wish. I always used to say to my former partner, my former spouse, I always used to say, I'm gonna be so great when I'm 55. I'm gonna be so good when I'm 55.
It's so funny. I said the same thing yesterday when I was at training, because we were talking about. So I do Muay Thai and boxing, and my friend and I, we both are over 40, training with all of those, in air quotes, kids or 30-year-olds. And he was like, we should have started earlier. And I'm like, nope. Compare ourselves to everyone else here. We are still holding up really good despite being over 40. I do honestly feel that this is one of the best times of my personal life, because I feel very fit and I feel it could always be better, but I think I have accomplished some things. I'm still struggling with the mortgage and with due to the wars here on this continent, the two wars, everything is so much more expensive. Wow. My mortgage just got raised a little bit and it is terrifying. But other than that, I feel being 40 is really cool. Yeah. I don't get why I was worrying so much.
Yeah.
So you remember when you were 28 or 29 and like, oh no, I'm turning 30. And then it turned out 35 was the best year until now in my whole life, because I didn't feel insecure. I was able to get into any club. I was able to party. I didn't feel awkward talking to women and stuff like that. And it was the best. And I didn't know, why was I so worried? Then I turned 38 and was like, 2 years and then I'm 40. And now I'm 43 and I'm like, wow, best year of my life.
Totally. Yeah, I love that. I like... It's now, there's more of that, like sort of just at the edges, that message coming in where it's like, dude, are you building what you know you're going to need to build to like, are you building the castle to survive the winter or the boat to survive the storms that are coming? Like, is this, so there's more of a mature conversation starting to happen in my head. And every year has been like, I've been excited I was excited to turn 4. Actually, my 40th birthday party was amazing and terrible at the same time. That's another story. But like that turning 40, that coming in now that I'm 41, like because I was going into all of the marriage dissolving stuff, that was just, it was so like my whole conception of myself was as husband, father, and so like,
you question yourself, right?
Yeah, and I've like experienced like, plant medicine ceremonies and depth psychology workshops and lots of personal growth type stuff. That, the message in those is always pretty similar. This sense of like what you think you're supposed to be is this game that you're playing. And if you just stop playing the fucking game, you're gonna be like you'd be a monster. You'd be unstoppable. You know,
it's so difficult turning off those voices, right?
Yeah.
Especially the older you get, and it is also difficult sometimes, as you previously said, not to compare yourself to others.
Yeah.
And I feel like I catch myself the same way you do sometimes. I don't compare myself to content creators, but obviously in my job as a freelance film editor, I compare myself to others. Did I work enough? Did I earn enough? Am I accomplished enough? And then I see other friends that have also mortgages, and it feels like, oh, why do they get everything so easily? Did he just buy a new car? How the hell did he do that? You know? And that is those voices I sometimes have in my head as well.
Yeah. Well, Benjamin Franklin said comparison. You might not know him because you're German,
it's the thief of joy.
There you go. You got it.
Yeah,
right?
I know that. Yeah, I love that sentence.
Comparison is the thief of joy. It is this because it's mind. Mind is the ultimate like discerner, judger, sort of. It's really good at just telling the difference between things. And then if you associate a story with, because this over here has that and I over here don't have that, if there's a story, an emotional story that develops around that, it can be really injurious to the self, right? To yourself, to the organism, and all of that because the mind just doesn't know how to not compare. That's what it is. It's a comparison tool. Ram Dass used to say the mind, terrible master, excellent servant. You know, it's a terrible master, but it's an excellent servant. And most of us, listen, we run in a culture globally now where the premium is on intelligence. If you're smart, you have to be smart. Don't be dumb. Like, don't be fucking dumb. We're a very mental oriented culture where we're living in our heads all the time. How do we convince someone to buy something? We have to make it look and feel smart and emotionally alluring. Both of those still at the core in our advertising, right? In fact, that's one of the reasons why I've loved advertising so much, or at least loved being a student of it. Making ads I don't know if I love it. I'm just good at it in some ways. But like you're mixing this. This is smart. This is you're mixing this intelligence with this underlying sort of aspirational, emotional sort of thing. Exactly. You know, when someone's looking at a video of yours on a sling and you're talking about what you do with it as you're showing it off in beautiful lighting, it's like all of these things are happening simultaneously. Like I'm getting allured into it emotionally because of the way it looks, and I'm imagining it in my life. I'm hearing someone that I respect tell me it's a good idea. All right, I want to believe that's what they're saying. So I'm looking for that, right? Anyways, I don't know why I'm off on that tangent. Besides, like the mind being a terrible master and an excellent servant. And you know, a lot of the meditations really mattered to me. I don't train jujitsu or Muay Thai like you. I feel like I should. Everybody's supposed to be.
I thought you were a BJJ practitioner.
No, I'm just manly, bro. I'm just manly. I think
but you should.
Yeah, like I think it's a little bit cooler not to do BJJ these days.
Yeah,
than to do it.
I get what you're saying.
But at 41, I do worry about my neck and my shoulders and all that stuff. But I have a strength coach that I work with part time, and that has been awesome. If there's I just pray for people to be able to have the ability just to like the other thing I do is a lot of hot yoga because I pay $25. I just show up and I'm going to do it. I have some gym stuff here at home. I very rarely
flexible as fuck, right? If you're doing a lot of yoga.
Yeah, I'm pretty flexible, but not as like you can be like I had hypomobility injuries, but from being too flexible, from orienting myself towards flexibility too much, and ended up like having some like injuries, I think long-term injuries in my spine and stuff because of hypomobility stuff. Because I thought this is how it's supposed to look when you do yoga, right? Again, comparison, thief of joy. You've got a form or an idea in your head of what it's supposed to look like, and now I'm trying to do that instead of, and this is instructive, feeling it from the inside out. Like, what is it supposed to feel like? not what is it supposed to look like.
Sure.
How does this start from the ground up using gravity and your spine and, you know, what you understand about where your pelvis should be and things like that. Anyways, I could geek out about that all day long.
Are you a very, I was just Googling the word, are you a very ambitious person? Are you very goal-oriented when you do like sports and stuff like that? Or how did that happen that you kind of like overextended?
Well, the physicality, I never really I was never really a strong or oriented towards athletics kind of person. I was pushed into that when I was really young by my dad, and it was too much pressure, and I jumped out, and I ejected and got into music and stuff, and found more of my expression there. But there's something in the physical body stuff that there was a season of my life when I lived in Portland and cannabis was legal, and I would smoke weed by myself only because I would get too weird with people around. I would smoke weed by myself, and I don't know, I would just start I would watch a show and like do a foam rolling, or like rolling on a lacrosse ball, and it would just eventually just be super slow and way deep into some tissues, and it would be very much in the inner sensation of the body outside of I wasn't in the same kind of mental chatter. Yeah. Right? It was like way more embodied and my mind was like down in my body, and I felt like, wow, I've really become enlightened or something. Turns out I was just stoned. But I would also, because of that, I would also do more movement stuff. I mean, I used to just get stoned and be naked in my bedroom doing I still to this day, I think I invented yoga. I was I was that old Indian dude in a cave drinking soma and inventing
I wish there was
yoga.
A camera.
Right? Totally. Just my balls flopping around and me. But feeling the yoga from the inside out, it's the same exact thing as I think what makes my videos have any relating impact at all, resonance at all. I'm feeling my goal and and this thing I'm a student of is to be myself, feeling myself from the inside out. Trying, on one hand, I care a great deal what you think about me, right? On the other hand, I'm in a total dance I'm going to dance with that, not a denial of that, but in the face of that, I will still here's what's coming up for me. Here's what's authentic for me right now. And I have some prepped and some idea. I have a frame about this product, this is a travel backpack. So you're going to go on a fucking travel with this. So that's my frame for this thing. How does this thing do at that? And whatever comes up within that frame, being able to, I have a theory that, have you ever heard the 100 monkey theory?
No.
There's an island where there's two different tribes of packs of monkeys, different sides. Okay. They basically never interact with each other at all. On one side, enough monkeys learn to do this stick into the ant hole thing.
Okay.
That monkeys in that tribe have learned how to do this. Once 100 of these monkeys have learned how to do this and are doing it, not like they're having classes on it, right? These are fucking monkeys, right? There's a very primal, natural thing going on here, and they're learning some new skill. Without any contact with that other tribe over there, that other pack of monkeys, they start doing it. Right? They start picking up that same kind of thing. It's this thing that's somewhat, it's still probably in the realm of pseudoscience, but it's I believe in this morphic resonant energy sort of orientation, I don't need to convince someone of it. I just live with it a bit. But I think that our billion-year-old nervous system is really, really, really sensitive when another monkey is being in a state of flow or authenticity. There's just mirror neurons and things that make it feel, it's like when the comedian starts doing crowd work, the whole room shifts if they're good at it, right? It's it's immediately, we're right here now, right? And I'm constantly in my videos playing with that because I know that that's a little bit of a slip and slide to get you down in a little deeper into the video with me, to get you down in a little bit more of this, like we're sharing space. That's why
but
sometimes
that's a personality thing that I said. You have that. Yeah, you can do that easily.
Yeah, well, but it's taken a lot of time. Like, there's also like, it's taken a lot of time to learn how to do that, to be comfortable with it. And it also has taken time to develop, like, to cultivate conviction that that's okay to do, right? Because there are times when I will have a much longer pause than any editor would be like, okay with. And I when I'm editing, I'm like, no, because where I'm taking you right now, like, if you're not with me, you get the fuck out of here. But if you're with me, you're about to get gotten. You know, like I'm about to get you like into the place where you're like, I think I like this guy. You know,
like exactly.
And I have some conviction and some confidence around that. So it's not like the personality was just good at that. You know, the personality is good at coming up with a bunch of stuff and trying to keep you interested and bamboozle and look at me because I have a lot of motivation to get you to look at and like me because there's a vacuum. There's a soul-shaped vacuum there. There's a hole in my heart.
But,
you know?
but that's what I'm saying about getting older. We are now at the point potentially in our lives where we are very comfortable with what we're doing and we know what works for us, right? And that's what makes the current period of our lives so interesting, probably. And that's exactly what you're saying. You just know that pause, for instance, you're comfortable with it because you tried it so many times. You learned that it works for you, and therefore you're comfortable in doing it that way. So I think that's amazing, actually.
Thanks.
And especially that's why I'm underlining so much your personality is such a driving force for your content, and you should, in my humble, I mean, what can I say? My channel is obviously smaller than yours, so it would be very stupid of me to give you advice, but I think from my perspective,
stop that, Bo. That is such bullshit. Okay, keep going. What were we gonna say?
Because from my perspective, I think the way you handle this personality or how you drive your content in terms of personality, I think is really cool and will keep you moving forward. And I would love to see you try some more stuff in the future in terms of other content. So I would love to know from you if a higher force would give you a channel with 1 million subscribers. Yeah. And you know those people would watch anything that you do. What would you do? What kind of content would you love to do, to explore?
What a great question. And the first thing that comes to mind is being, okay, did you ever watch Spinal Tap? Do you know that movie? No. It was made by Rob Reiner. It was like one of the
90s movies, right?
I think it might have been late 80s, early 90s. It's one of the original mockumentaries. So it's like a fake documentary about a band called Spinal Tap. I have a buddy who said to me one time, he's like, Chase, I wanted you to be the Rob Reiner of the wellness world. Like making true and silly videos around like the wellness world. And what's real and what's not and whatever. So that's one idea that comes up. What I'm thinking about a lot right now, I mean, honestly, I'm honestly searching for my ministry right now. Like this might be a weird way of phrasing it, but that's where I used to be a very devout Christian guy. Now Jesus and I have an open relationship. We're sort of seeing other people, but like
ministry is a guy in the church, right? Is that
ministry is like, imagine it like a mission. Imagine it like a purpose, purpose that is specifically for the good of something, regardless of financial benefit or something, right? I find myself quite hungry for that, a real sense of, for the last 7 years, it's really been about like, how do I just get my family to survive? Like, how can we just get out of the like financial pain of just insecurity? And now it's like that just doesn't like I'm still like we've made progress right now. I'm actually in a bit of a squeeze, but it's like I just don't have the motivation around that in the same way. Like I'm still going to do it all and make it work, and it always works, and so I have some confidence there. But there's something about like, what's the world really need? What does the world really need? And like this working with I do a lot of men's work. Groups of guys where we try not to make it lame, because I think men's work can be real lame. I don't even know what people think of when they think of men's work, but it's just like, I like to be in a room.
Is it like group therapy or is
like, well, I mean, I don't do the therapy side of it much, but yeah, it's like, for instance, I have a couple men's groups I'm a part of. One of them is like, we just get together every 3 weeks. We all sit down in a circle and we're just like, all right, I'll go first. And I've got like 10 minutes and then we're on to the next guy. And it's just like, here's what's going on in life. And it's just, and we've been doing this for almost 2 years, this group.
That's cool.
And people have come in and come out, and we've watched people get pregnant and lose the pregnancy. We've watched people get divorced. We've watched people start up businesses. We've watched people we've just carried each other through a lot of life.
Cool.
So when I think of changing the world, like legit, impacting the world in a positive way, it's like, well, men are lonelier than they've ever been. Culture makes us lonelier and lonelier and lonelier. We've sacrificed all of our connection for convenience, right? And if there was like 1,000 men's groups that were started, just local to other places, like just getting guys a little more used to being in a group like that, because it ends up really radically changing. It just ends up really like, I'm held by these guys in a way that I can't really point at any one moment and say that is when that really was worth it for me. It's like this rising tide floats all boats kind of thing. It is more systemic, that like I'm in a better spot because I'm less alone. And that, I don't know. And it feels good to hold other guys' lives and stuff. So, if I had 1 million followers around something, it would be like, all right, I think the world needs men. I think the world needs the masculine. And I think it's totally fair that we're like, the patriarchy, it's like, okay, cool. Yeah, I like the idea of a correction in the market, so to speak. And we're still going to want the masculine. And that regardless of, if the masculine's showing up really strong in a female or a male, it's like, regardless of what body this is coming through, we want to know how to be in that like sort of grounded, content, conscientious, being able to like as a dad, this, we just got to know how to be in this like what a man is. And I think a lot of men have been raised by their moms and women, and it's almost like it's unsafe to be a man. In some ways, that might sound super stupid, but but it's
I understand what you're saying, yeah.
And I'm still just kind of like learning about what I really think about this. But I'll tell you that like that coming to terms with my desire, with my fear, and not that I have come to terms with, but just orienting myself, becoming aware of like, oh shit, like these desires, those fears, this worry, what it's not okay for me to feel and think. It's not okay for me to be a failure. It's not okay for me to this and just being like, having someone go like, hey, yeah, but we all fail. It's basic run of the mill kind of relationship stuff. And I deeply believe that makes the world work better. It makes the world work better, and the point is not to neuter the men in the world, and I understand the sensitivity to how to do this rightly, but ultimately it's just there's billions of fucking men out there, and they are what they are, and like let's figure out how to navigate this, how to balance it well. So but when I think
couldn't you just inject that kind of idea also into your videos now?
There's a bit of a goal there. I mean, I love you pushing into me on this, Bo. This is great. I mean, it's again another thing that I love about what I'm calling men's work, but it's really just like good conversations. Like you're just like, what, these conversations are really good, and they put me on the spot right? And I'm kind of like caffeinated, so I'm jumping off into my mind a lot and thinking. But like when you're like, couldn't you do that in your videos right now, right? It's scary to me. But look, this right here, right on these field notes, I have like several of these that I've filled up.
Yeah.
These all have inside of them like little, by the way, little flat pen that I'm.
That's cool.
I can't do this without getting gear oriented.
I love field notebooks.
Each of these is like this page right here is like the size of like a TikTok or an Instagram reel. Right. And most of these are, I mean, this one's literally called join a men's group. And it just has a few different points to make. Right. This one over here is like try trust. This one over here is morning toothbrush guy. I do this thing every morning when I brush my teeth where you make yourself gag a little bit on your tooth. You stimulate that like vomit kind of. Oh, really? You have nothing in your stomach, so nothing comes up. Because it stimulates the vagal nerve, which goes all the way from the bottom of your belly through your like down into your butthole, basically, all the way up through your throat. It's an old Tibetan practice of like kind of clearing the vapors and stimulating that nerve, and it just kind of wakes you up a little bit, and you get a little more used to that. I mean, that nobody likes that feeling of throwing up. That's funny.
I do jump ropes in the morning to wake up.
You know, some people do better things than others, right? I think you might have me there. I think you might have me there. But the point being, like these notebooks are full of ideas that are like next step is to go through and put them all in my little tote book here, which is from Studio Neat, which is a little more fancy. And then like the ones that I like that I'm going to stick with, I'm going to actually develop into a page on that notebook. And then now it's like, that's my script. Those are my prompts. I can start making that video.
You know, but yeah, just going back to trying to inject it, I feel like you could include those philosophical ideas into your current videos without potentially offending people in a very political space, because it is like interwebbed into a review. And I'm just thinking about, because I had this comment on the recent video where it says, oh, that sling bag looks like a man purse. And I totally agree with that assessment, because it does look like a man purse. But now that you said that about being comfortable or confident in who you are, I would love to see your perspective when you review like a sling bag that potentially looks like a man purse. Then you inject the idea of,
that's great.
No, we are men. Yes, it looks like a man purse. Yes, it might look not the greatest, but you can be confident being a man and wearing this, and then just kind of venture off into that kind of philosophical idea and just ramble about that a little bit.
I love that.
And then because it's interwebbed in your review, I don't think you would offend anyone. But if you would just put a video about that topic by itself, I can see already a lot of people being offended. But if it's interwebbed in that video, I don't think anyone would mind that much, I believe.
Yeah, well, I love that. It's a great, I mean, normally there's a recent video I did, the Tortuga Light travel backpack. And now it's become pretty common for commenters to like, video starts at 11 minutes. Like they'll put a little time code there. And that's the point when I start just sort of riffing on stuff. I'm just sort of like, and I had a really fun, great, like I was just reviewing the product, going through it, and I was just like, listen. And I just start talking directly to camera and go off on a little tear, and it's great. I love doing that. I really do. And for some reason, it has to be couched in that kind of stuff for me right now. I don't really know how to, like, even reading through these, I get excited when I capture the note when it's falling out of me, like just in life. But when I'm looking back at them, I'm like, does this have any juice for me at all right now? Are there any of these going to be interesting enough for me to even make a video out of? Right? I don't know. We'll see.
But that's always the question. Do you make something that is interesting to you or as you said, is it beneficial to the world? And sometimes I think it's okay to do something for yourself, to do something that you enjoy, but that necessarily isn't that interesting to anyone else. Maybe.
Yeah.
I think that should be okay.
I think there's a danger for me in, I don't even, like, you know, it's like it's our job, Bo, to find out what's interesting to us, to be with that, to explore that, to be patient with that, to be clear with ourselves about that, to inquire into that. And oftentimes I think I get stuck in some layer where it's like I'm just so want to be paid attention to that I'll just go into I'll get in down some rabbit hole that I think they might pay attention to me if I'm doing that, you know? So I kind of, that meditator's inquiry into like, what am I actually interested in? It's like, well, I'm actually interested in sex. I don't think they want to hear me talk about that. Yeah, exactly. So it's like, yeah, all right. What else are you interested in? You know, right?
I think this conversation was so much fun, and I would love to talk to you much longer. But I know that you have some stuff to do. But to kind of finish this conversation, I felt I learned so much about you and learned a totally different side of you, which I personally find so interesting. And getting to know someone from a different perspective and from a deeper level. So I really appreciate your honesty and sharing all of your thoughts here, and obviously being very open. I mean, I wouldn't have been surprised if you had said, hey, dude, let's just talk bags. I don't want to get too deep into these other topics. So I really appreciate you being that open with me and all of the listeners, of course.
Yeah, no, you got it. Bo, I'm a huge fan of you. So
Same.
we have a kindred. I feel like we've been in a little bit of it's like we were both in the same war or something. So there's just some this is my brother sort of thing. One day we'll be in a bar in Shanghai telling stories of when the Wandered Perverki came out.
It would be so fun. I kind of wished that we were in the same state. Did you know that I think you knew that I used to live in Oklahoma.
I didn't know that.
Didn't we talk about that in the last episode?
Maybe you mentioned it, but I've spaced that.
Yeah,
that's close. That's like an 8-hour drive for me.
Exactly. It's not far. I was living in a small town called Okeen, which is Enid. Enid was the closest bigger city, and big and huge air quotes because it was still a tiny city. But I did a high school year, and I just imagined, it would be so cool to still live in USA and be able to visit all of you. Yeah. But at some point, I will do like a big tour, go to the middle of US, go to Detroit first to visit Tom from Packhacker, and then go down straight to Texas. Texas,
That's amazing. Right? Yeah, I'm in Austin. Yeah.
That would be so cool.
Yeah, I've always got a spot for you to stay here. So anytime you get out, you just let me know.
That would be cool, definitely. And I always wanted to visit Austin. I've never imagined it being that cool, actually. Seeing so many videos about South by Southwest is in Austin, right?
Yeah.
Seeing all of the vlog videos about that city, that's such a cool and inspiring city. So
yeah, it is. It's a rad spot. And I'm like outside of town by about 20 minutes, out in the forest, the hill country forest, and we'll go swim in Barton Springs. We'll get a fancy milkshake at Sun Life Organics. Maybe go to a line dancing spot. Get Bo learning how to do a little line dancing.
You can do line dancing?
No, I cannot. But
Okay, then we learn together.
we're gonna learn. Yeah,
That would be funny.
Which
that
is
would
a
be
great-
an amazing video, actually.
Oh yeah, no, that'd be great. That'd be great. Yeah, it's like hard for me to like even think of like I'm not thinking about that as a video. Like making a video of stuff like that is such a. I do that kind of shit all the time in my life and am never filming it. There was always a premium on like when I don't have the camera, probably because of raising my kids and being a dad. It's like there's this old like Buddhist idea that I heard from Alan Watson. It's like this: I promise to abstain from exploiting my passions. Right? It was a super interesting idea. It flies in the face of so much of that blog culture that I was a part of back in the day. But it's like, I promise to abstain from exploiting my passions. There's always been but now it feels a little more like, let's bring the camera around more often, see if we can actually just get shit as it's happening.
No, but I totally respect that, especially nowadays where everyone is constantly putting a phone into your face or in the vicinity of everything that's going on.
Yeah.
It is so hard to keep your memories fresh to that. And I don't know why it is. As soon as I take a picture of something, my brain somehow
It's like you
only
forget
remembers that. Yeah, you remember that picture, but you don't remember the occasion and whatever has been happening around that picture. So I totally respect your how you approach that and not bringing the camera. Really respect that.
Yeah. Well,
a good
that said, I always have my phone on me, and I'm working on a video right now on like phone filmmaking. Like got a company to send out a bag they made just for like phone filmmaking and a bunch of their phone filmmaking products. Because I went on a trip to South Africa and we did this 5-day walking trip, and I filmed it mostly with my Insta360 cam and my iPhone. And dude, it's so different than carrying around a DSLR.
Yeah.
Completely different.
Exactly. I mean, I bought this DJI Pocket 3 thing. That's just a case.
Yeah.
And that thing is liberating me because it is so small, still yields in good quality. And I feel like, okay, this is the only thing that I need in addition to my phone.
Do you think it's as high quality as the cameras on like a brand new iPhone Pro?
Probably not, but just being able to record with it and the microphone without having to attach a bunch of stuff to your iPhone is much easier than just... I feel it is sometimes a hassle to record with my phone because I have to turn on the phone, start the camera app, then entering the settings, potentially attaching a mic. And with the DJI, it's just flipping up the display, turn on the mic, you're golden, and then you can just start recording.
Wow.
So, but the quality is great, but obviously not as great as the newest iPhone, I guess. I didn't test the new iPhone yet.
Yeah, but it's probably close enough. Yeah, that's interesting, that the ease of... I hear what you're saying on that.
Yeah.
All right, Bo Ismono.
All right. Thank you so much for the time. Where can people find you if they want to find you?
My name is Chase Reeves. You can find me on YouTube. My website is matterful.co. And you can get on the email list there because I basically never send emails until we're doing a giveaway. And it's just a way to enter into the giveaways. And then on Instagram, I'm Chase W. Reeves. I post on Instagram and YouTube fairly regularly.
All right. Everyone, follow Chase. And thank you so much for your time. And everyone, thank you so much for listening. See you next episode. Thank you very much.